And next up is Monica. Round of applause.
I've got 2 short stories here that I wrote. Painted Face. There once was a beautiful woman whose face ran like water. Each time she put on makeup, it would slide down her face like paint being washed from a brush. Her blue eyeshadow would color streaks down her cheeks until it ran off completely, mixing with pinstripes of mascara and blobs of pink lipstick. The makeup slid down her smooth skin, beaded on her fragile chin, dripped down her neck. The collars of her shirts were stained by the makeup, turned red and tan by concealer and gloss, made dark by bronzer, and often shimmering like the blush she brushed on each morning. Though she washed them in the warmest water and scrubbed them with the hardest, the makeup stayed on her clothes as if to mock her bare face. This went on for years. Some days the makeup would run fast, cascading to her clothes as soon as it touched her skin, and other days it stuck long enough for her to smile at her reflection and believed she looked pretty while she was covered up. Each morning she tried again, different product names, different colors, waterproof and Everlast, and each morning she watched as the sliding colors mixed and swirled and collected on her clothes. Eventually she stopped trying. She threw away her ruined shirts and the products she had given so much of her happiness to. The beautiful woman stopped looking in the mirror, embarrassed to have her own truth staring back at her. She kept her face down when she walked, envied the extraordinary women who were made ordinary by colors of berries, tawnies, plums, and blacks. Her colorfully painted clothes were dumped far away in a landfill, thrown next to car parts, old shoes, rusted jewelry, and books. They were forgotten, but occasionally when the stars were out, people would see fireworks of color from over the hill by the dump, sparks of dusty lilac, amber blaze, pink melon, and, the most lovely of all, a subtle flourish of stardust yellow. Second one is the pen. There once was a man who wanted to write a story. He bought some paper and a pen and sat down at his desk. He wrote and wrote, his pen scrawling across the lines of the paper. He wrote so much that the pen ran out of ink, but he didn't stop. He pressed his pen so hard to the paper that the metal tip began to run in the shape of the words he wrote. Then he pressed the plastic tube of the pen into the story, and the cap followed close behind. With the pen gone, he had nothing to write with but his body, so he pressed his fingers to the paper and began to write with them. He wrote until his hand was gone to the wrist, and then he scribbled right up to his elbow. The sun had set by then, so he paused to turn on the light, pushing the switch upward with the stump hanging from his shoulder. He sat down to write again until he had written his entire arm into the story, but he didn't stop there. He rose to his feet and pressed his shoulder to the paper until he had written away his head as well, and only a torso, an arm, and 2 legs remained crouching at the desk. He used his arm to guide his headless chest into the paper and press himself into the story. Soon, even the feet were gone, and the arm skittered across the page until it whittled itself down, and the last of the paper was used up. All that was left was a story.
And once again, we have Manuel, and just so everybody knows, there is currently nobody else on the list, so... Oh, yeah, we got him. He's going after Manuel.
Well, he can go first.
You want to go first? Yeah. Okay, great. He'll go first. You'll probably do a better job entertaining.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody who's come up here and said something tonight. I want to commend the individuals who have come up here and said something tonight, because sometimes getting up on a microphone and saying something in front of a bunch of people that you don't know is not the easiest thing. You kind of start to shake a little bit, your mouth gets dry. So I want to commend everybody who has come up here and who has a message to share with us, because it's important that whatever message we have to share, that we get it out. Because attitudes seek expression, and when we hold things in and we don't express things, then we start to get ourselves into trouble. So with that being said, normally I'm a very calculated speaker. When I have something to say, I normally write things out, or like Manuel here, I have it in a book. I have it kind of scripted, pre-scripted, practiced, so that way, the desired effect can be a good one, blah, 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 blah. So I have a few things jotted down, but there's something that I want to speak on tonight that I have a very strong conviction about. And those of you who in here that know me, know that I have a strong conviction about saying something. Okay? I just want to preface things here. Whether you're a believer or non-believer, whether you're someone who believes in the teachings of the Bible, I don't want people to get caught up in the binaries or in the division and all the arguments of what is true and what's not true to you. That's fine. But I want to lay some groundwork here, because I believe that we are living in a time where not only are people are scared to get up and to say something in society. It's not an easy thing. But we are taught that if we do say something, many times, that it is because we hate someone, and many times that is a tactic to keep people from saying something, to pigeonhole them and to categorize them into people that hate. Okay? So I want to preface things here, and this is out of the Bible, out of 2 Kings chapter 6, verse number 24. Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, mobilized his entire army and marched and laid siege to Samaria. Ben-Hadad, Ben means son of, Hadad means fierce. So the son of fierceness mobilized his entire army and marched and laid siege to Samaria. There was a great famine in the city. The siege lasted so long that a donkey's head sold for 80 shekels. Shekels was the Roman Empire's currency unit of silver, and a quarter of a cab of seed pods for 5 shekels. As the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried to him, "Help me, my lord, the king." The king replied, "The Lord does not help you. How can I help you? From the threshing floor, from the winepress?" Then he asked her, "What's the matter?" She answered, "This woman said to me, 'Give up your son so we may eat him today, and tomorrow we'll eat my son.'" All right. Now that sounds very, very grotesque. Some of the things that Manuel was saying earlier may have seemed more grotesque. And that's okay, because sometimes we have to come with a message that penetrates so that people can hear what we are saying. So my point is that Samaria was under siege. To be under siege or to be besieged means to be overwhelmed. And I believe that we are living in a time where individuals are under siege, where we are besieged by things in the world, and when we listen to people who are up here tonight, we can tell there's a lot of people that are pissed off at America. Am I right about this? Come on, tell me, am I right about this? Yeah. Okay. But, and that's all right, but if we put our faith in a government or in a system that is supposed to take money from us and redistribute it and tell us how we're supposed to live our lives and tell us what is appropriate and inappropriate, then we are going to be pissed. Because they're going to try to dictate how we act. But maybe we don't want to act how they want us to act. So then we get up and we start speaking, and then people aren't happy with the way that we speak. But again, that is a tactic to keep people from saying something. So I found out last night, we talk about things in the world, we talk about our jobs, we talk about health care, we talk about abortion, we talk about different things that make us happy, make us sad, fulfill us, don't fulfill us. And yesterday I found out that I may be losing my job. Damn, that sucks, right? And so we can get into blaming a lot of people, a lot of things, and so I got really pissed about it because I feel that there's someone to blame for that. I do. But I'm not going to get into the whole story about what happened at the job and how things were being managed and such. But there was something that came about me. There was something that came inside me that said, it's Thursday night, and it's time to get up and to say something. Okay? So where am I going with this? I don't know if I even know where I'm going with this. I know that, like we said, we are living in a time where we try to keep people from saying something. So what happens when we don't say things and when we keep things inside of us, is that this spirit, or whatever you want to call it in society, becomes so aggressive. And people tell the church, and people tell schools, and people tell teachers, and people tell leaders, and people tell others that they need to tone things down. Okay?